Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Draft and Drive. My name is Josh. I'm here with Alexia, that way, and we are siblings who are NASCAR enthusiasts. And today we are covering Daytona 500 and our predictions for the Atlanta race. Alexia, start us off.
So, firstly, you want to cover O'Reilly series?
Let's do it.
Well, what a runaway that was. Austin Hill dominated. He won stage 1, stage 2, and then won the race. It looked like he was unstoppable and no one could really touch him. And even when he got deep in the field, he drove his way right back up and didn't really seem like anyone could contend with him for the win or even a stage win. That was my pick. I knew he was going to be the force to be reckoned with, and I was right that he came out on top.
Yeah, perfect weekend. Pole, stage 1, stage 2, win. And, I don't think even I thought it'd be as dominant. I thought maybe he'd lose the stage, but we both predicted he was going to win. And he won, predictably. It's crazy how it's like I don't want to take anything away from him. He's great at this, especially Xfinity Series. I know he's done a few Cup races on the Super Speedways, hasn't exactly translated over, but Super Speedways on the O'Reilly side, almost like Xfinity on the O'Reilly side, very good. But it's just crazy. I feel like how much faster RCR cars are than the rest of the field. Jesse Love, he's the only one who can even stay up with him, but I think it's just lack of experience. Austin Hill's been in that 21 car for so long. He just knows how he wants it. He knows what he can do with it, and he just can get the lead, and nobody, not a single person, can touch him. And I think it's super impressive.
I'm surprised they didn't have him try to race in the Cup Series for the Daytona 500 this year. And, you kind of wonder when Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon hang up the helmet, you assume Jesse Love is going to go through the ranks, and you kind of always assume that Austin Hill would go with them. And I'd think that they'd want to throw a third car in there and to get more experience for the Daytona 500 in the future when they're going to be racing full time, but they didn't even elect to go for that spot this year.
Yeah, also, I don't know, someone said it, I don't know exactly who it was, but they're like, what are they telling or what are they giving to Austin Hill that's keeping him in the Xfinity Series? Because he has to have had Cup offers, and what are they telling him? Like, oh, maybe like 2 more years, and then you're gonna have the 3 car, or maybe they don't plan on renewing Kyle Busch's contract this year, and he'll be in next year. Like, they've got to. There has to be some sort of plan. Like, why would he, for his own sake, why would he stay there? Yes, he's dominating. Yes, he's winning, which maybe that's what he wants. But don't you want to win on the highest level?
I would be eager to see when Kyle Busch retires, if Austin Dillon elects to stay a couple of years, who Richard Childress elects to put in that 8 car. You have a guy that has shown that he can win on the drafting tracks and has been committed to that team for years upon years, but then you have a younger guy who shows that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the future, already an Xfinity Series champion, and then who do you put in that car? I'd be very eager to see what Richard Childress is thinking, who his first future star that they're gonna put in the Cup Series will be.
Yeah, like you said, he's got Austin Hill has loyalty. Jesse Love, I feel like, has star power, at least more so than Austin Hill. But he also, he is, I think, a lot younger. I think Austin Hill's like over 30, right?
He has to be right around there, yeah.
Yeah, like Jesse Love, obviously, also I feel like higher ceiling for Jesse Love as well. But also, I wanted to mention that he did, during the race, he put on 4 tires, and he and his crew were going back and forth. But I think it actually might have won on the race because, as much as he always does, can do whatever he wants on these drafting tracks, can move around how he wants. Putting on 4 tires just kind of sealed the deal. But just credit to RCR, man. Fast cars.
Yep. So I was good on Xfinity/O'Reilly. I was good if you wanted to move to Cup. Alright, so for Cup, we can briefly skim over Daytona 500 qualifying. 2 open cars were going to make it in on speed. Those 2 cars were Corey Heim and Justin Allgaier. So those 2 cars didn't have to race their way in the duels. Kyle Busch got the pole. Chase Briscoe got second, so their 2 spots were locked in. So that was kind of a sigh of relief for those cars, especially Justin Allgaier, who elected to hang around the back and stay out of the chaos for the duels. Duel 1, Joey Logano ended up winning. there was some last lap madness, and there was a big crash that involved Corey LaJoy, who looked like he was going to be able to get his spot in. The crash involved Corey LaJoy, and Casey Mears powered through. I don't think he lifted going around the corner and drove his way to get the spot in the Daytona 500. And then Duel 2 stayed caution-free, and Chase Elliott won the race for that. And Anthony Alfredo made it in on speed, but a post-race disqualification eliminated him from the Daytona 500, which then promoted BJ McLeod to making the 500.
Yeah, and I mean, granted, obviously it didn't work out in the end for both Logano and Elliott, but I believe they both finished in the top 5, so the duels were a decent indicator of who was going to be, of them being, having good cars for the weekend.
They might have both finished in the top 5, but they both finished in the top 5 slamming into the wall. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Alright, so you want to jump then to the Daytona 500?
We can. Also, just quick reminder, out of our open car predictions, I did get 3 out of 4 correct. Very proud of that. Daytona 500 time. Yeah.
Alright, so let's jump to the 500. Ready when you are.
I am ready. Kyle Busch started on pole, and before the drop of the green flag, folks, what should I say? When the green flag dropped, we don't get some celebrity, an A-lister, the people that are at the Super Bowl, you've got the top of the top. We don't even get a B-list celebrity. We don't even get somebody associated with Fox on one of their shows that they're trying to promote, waving the green flag.
We did technically get someone that was on one of the Fox's shows.
Yes, if you unzip the costume, I'm pretty sure it was just a faceless individual. Because, folks, we got a blow-up doll of Bart Simpson. What are we doing? What are we doing? This is the Daytona 500, the biggest race of the year. I would say probably second biggest motorsports race in the United States, probably second to the Indy 500. Like, this is a big deal. Like, you want it to mean something. And we've got someone in a costume waving the green flag. It makes us look like amateurs. Makes it look like an unserious sport. It's like, this is not the NFL on Nickelodeon, where you've got SpongeBob commentating. Like, it's real. It's supposed to be, if you want it to be respected, you have to at least show some effort. And I was disappointed. I know you've got some more thoughts.
I understand that it was the Simpsons 800th episode, but I think they could have done maybe a little bit something different. Either had the voice actor for Bart Simpson if they wanted to, or another voice actor for one of the other characters. While I think that the Daytona 500 was full of stars at the event. They had Marshawn Lynch, they had Puka Nakua there, they had Dinah Jane, they had Chris Stapleton was there. All these people could have waved the green flag. Yes, I agree, it kind of looked a little silly with Bart Simpson, or I should say, someone in a Bart Simpson costume waving the green flag. I understand it was their 800th episode, I just think they could have done something a little bit different. They also kind of blew it up like it was like this big deal, and you're like, just a regular old Joe in there. Like, it's actually not a big deal. It could have been me in there, you never would have known. Yeah. So, I don't know. It definitely a little strange having that be at your prestigious event. Man in a costume waving the green flag, but at the same time, whatever. Congratulations to The Simpsons. Happy 800 episodes.
Yeah. When the news broke on Twitter, I took a screenshot and I sent it to Alexia, and the caption I wrote was just, "What the fuck? What are we doing?" That was just, it bothered me so much, and I think it bothered Alexia so much. We had to bring it up before we even get into the actual racing.
We asked our family, and we said, just take a guess who you think is going to wave the green flag, and I'm sure you could guess that their guesses were very far off.
Yeah, real people.
Alright, let's jump into the race. So, the race started off for the first couple laps okay, but then BJ McLeod loses it. I believe he said that something broke on his car, and Casey Mears got involved, William Byron, Justin Allgaier. Already some damage for those cars. 3 of the open cars that had made it into the race already with damage.
Yeah, and McLeod was out. Casey Mears was not at all competitive after that. I don't know if he was with the field. If he was in the draft before that, I assume he was. But after that, both him and BJ were essentially done. BJ was done, but let's see.
So then, all the cars elected to pit except Kyle Busch, which put him 10 laps shorter on fuel. I'm still questioning that call. I don't necessarily understand why he elected to stay out, and then some cars came back in again to top off, and he could have won in there if there was a mistake, but he stayed committed to or his team stayed committed to what they were gonna do, and 10 laps shorter.
Yeah, my only thought is maybe they just want to get the car more TV time up front, which I get. Like, it's a Daytona 500, you want to get exposure for your sponsors, but you also want to have a shot to win.
So, earlier in the race, Kyle Busch got loose and hit Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski saved it. There was no caution. Then during pit stops, we did have no caution again after Jimmy Johnson spun. He was able to get it going, though. And then wrapping up stage 1, Zane Smith got the first stage 1 of the year.
Yeah, because he was with the group of Fords with Austin Cindric, who finished second. They did not have to pit again after the BJ McLeod crash. They just saved enough, and it was a lackluster finish in terms of actual competition. But congrats to Zane Smith. I believe they said it was his first. So,
I didn't realize that. So at some point, Cody Ware got the free pass. I'm not sure if it was during the stage, but then he was able to come up. Kyle Larson was pushing him, and he was able to lead some laps in the 500. I'm not sure if anyone had that on their bingo card to check that Cody Ware was going to drive up through the field and lead some laps, but he was able to get on up there, and I think led a couple of them. I don't think it was only one, but Cody Ware leading at the Daytona 500.
Yeah, and even if he didn't lead him, he was up front for quite a few, so.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, few short laps later, it all came undone with a big crash. It was, I believe, Zilich who got loose. Who was involved? Briscoe, Austin Dillon. Oh, it was Zilich. He came up on Allgaier. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And Zilich, I believe, was done after that. Austin Dillon, I believe, was done after that.
Zilich they were laps down. I think they were just kind of coasting to see if another big crash happened. But yeah, they were not in contention after that. Ty Gibbs was involved, Todd Gill and Ross Chastain, Corey Heim. Yeah, their cars were beat up, so. Then after that, there was a big pileup that involved Austin Cindric, Kyle Larson, SVG, Justin Allgaier, Alex Bowman, Todd Gill, and Denny Hamlin. Ross Chastain drove through. Corey Heim, Joey Logano, William Byron, Kyle Busch, Riley Herbst, Zane Smith, John Hunter Nemechek. And it was all because Justin Allgaier was not clear.
Yeah, he was trying to sneak up into a hole. Or no, I'm sorry. Denny Hamlin was trying to sneak in a hole that Allgaier had left on the outside, and Allgaier just came up into him, and that whole outside lane got a bunch of damage. Cindric, he got multiple laps down. He was out of it. Larson, I know, had huge damage. Nemechek had huge damage, but both of those guys were able to continue, I believe, in the lead lap. Justin
Allgaier his car was wrecked after that. He did take full blame for it, but yeah, that was another open car incident. Not clear.
Not clear.
Then after that, Bubba Wallace was the Stage 2 winner, got his first Stage 1 of the year, and Jimmy Johnson got the free pass. Let's dive into Stage 3.
Stage 3, well, there really wasn't. We can skip a whole bunch of it up until, I believe, laps 7 ago, because they were fuel saving the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously it looked good on TV, but, there's fuel saving. They're not going 100%. And I believe it was a bad push from Corey Heim. Gets Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell.
Mm-hmm. And then, you also forgot Cole Custer ran out of gas with a couple laps to go. And then Tyler Reddick won the race in a mess of a last lap with multiple crashes going on. The big topic after the race was the push from Riley Herbst. Brad Keselowski was not happy. He said that it was a dumb move, one of the dumbest moves he's ever seen. But big win for 2311 after the lawsuit. So, How funny is that? That Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan and the whole 23XI team, they got the win against NASCAR in December and then the first win of the season in February.
Yeah. Very interesting for sure. I had a couple shout outs that I wanted to do. One I wanted to shout out, I know I just got done blasting Fox, but I wanted to shout them out for, I believe, I could be mistaken, but it felt like if it wasn't 100%, it was 90% of the race when it was green was side-by-side commercials. So you could still tell what was going on. Shout out Fox for doing that every year. I mean, it's a joke. We call it, oh, can't wait to watch the commercial 500 this year because it's always so bad. And then they cut the commercial with 5 laps to go. I think they did that last year, like Talladega or something like that. Side by side, the entire way through, every green lap. Very, very, very cool. Also, shout out Chase Elliott. Could have thrown the world's worst block coming to the checkered flag. It did not. Wound up getting wrecked anyways. But, shout out to him not doing it. And also, I saw this one, and I agreed with it on Twitter. Shout out to NASCAR officiating. 2 separate instances on the last lap. They let it go green. They let the race play out. Let them race back to the stripe. And gave us a classic finish. An instant classic finish. Super exciting. Mike Joy on the call. Solo on the call. Perfect.
Well, I just wanted to say, Fox last year had a bad rep. Well, they've had a bad rep for years. And Fox really listened to some fan feedback. It's not going to be perfect. You're not going to go from 0 to 100 in one race. But I think they've taken a lot of the feedback. And I was actually going to say, Mike Joy was calling the last lap by himself. Usually you had Clint Boyer or Kevin Harvick piping in, talking over him, and it kind of ruined the call. But Mike Joy had solo last lap. They got rid of the cartoon characters. They did well with the commercials this year. They've taken a lot of the feedback that fans have given, and it's going to be this is the race that has the most eyes for new NASCAR fans, old NASCAR fans. This is the race that brings everyone in, and I think the Fox's goal is to bring people to now watch next week and then the week after at COTA. So I think that they had a good broadcast, and we'll see if their broadcasts stay good and keep getting better and keep bringing in more fans. That's what NASCAR wants, is to bring in more fans and grow the sport. And I think Fox, like I said, you're not going to go from 0 to 100 in one race, but I think that they had a great first broadcast back, and I think hopefully they're going to take more feedback and get better and better and better, and I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I was impressed.
Yeah, good first start. Obviously, you can't really compare them to like an Amazon because Amazon's streaming. There's no, they don't have advertisers to please, I guess, or whatever. But for what it was, compared to where they were, you got to give them props because it was night and day.
So they said that the Fox had a long post-race broadcast, which I thought they did have a little extra time. There were no red flags, and obviously they started an hour early. I will say they didn't interview as many drivers as I thought they would post-race, but obviously, if you're Fox, you have one of the biggest names on the screen with Michael Jordan. You're going to now want to interview him and get his thoughts and all these things, because that's the star power, right? So I understand wanting to interview Michael Jordan. I do just wish there was a couple more interviews with the people that finished. I don't think they didn't interview Ricky Stenhouse or other people that finished, in the top 5, or some more of the people that got involved in that pile up at the end. But again, let's see what happens when they go to EchoPark Speedway next week and then COTA the week after, and let's see, how their broadcast goes those 2 weeks too.
Yeah. So getting on with it, my good surprise of the race, actually, I had 2. I had SVG. He finished 30th, so you can't really say, it was a good finish, but he was up front, good chunk of the day, was leading laps, was doing good, playing it consistent. Obviously got wrecked there at the end, but that's just, you put yourself in contention, it's going to happen. Happens every time we go to a super speedway, especially to the Penske Fords. And then also Zane Smith, I think he finished 6th, won a stage, was up front very, very good chunk of the day. Great day. A very good Daytona for him. And then, actually, do you want to say, do you have a good pick? Good surprise?
So what's funny is that I wrote down 2 too, and we did not copy each other. So I have two different ones as well. So I have Cody Ware. I was impressed that he was able to get through the field and lead laps. Sometimes when I see him driving through the field, I go and kind of, get a little nervous, but because he doesn't have the experience driving with some of these guys, but he was able to keep his lead for a little while and navigate his way through. So I was impressed with Cody Ware. And then also Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch obviously started on the pole, so he did have that position early in the race, but he was able to navigate the lines. He was getting a little irritated with John Hunter Nemechek saying, does this guy know it's early in the race? But he was able to navigate his lines and stay up there. And then I don't know if you saw, but there was a post on X after the race that he, on the last lap, let off. And he let the field go by him. And he was basically like, I'm going to wait out because there's going to be a crash and I'm going to drive my way through it. Sure enough, not one crash, but two crashes, and he drove all the way up there. I don't know if he got right around 15th, I think. I think he dropped down to 30th and passed like 15 cars in one lap and snaked his way through. So that was my two good surprises for the Daytona 500. I think they both did well. You can't really pick that you're going to say they're going to win the races because it's such a crapshoot, but both of them I was very impressed with their days at Daytona.
Yeah, the bad part for Kyle Busch is that the second crash happened across the line, and everybody there finished across the line and most likely beat him. My bad surprise, actually, I had two. Once again, I had two. I had Austin Dillon, not really his own doing, got caught up early, and he was done. But, with Kyle Busch being on the pole, you kind of expect RCR to have similar speed for both cars. So, was a little disappointed because, we know he's pretty good here. And then also my bad surprise, it might be a bit of a strange choice, but I had Ryan Blaney because he was up front briefly towards the end of the first stage, and I think the beginning of the second stage, and then after that, he was like not much of a factor, especially at the end. He wasn't a factor, but just wasn't up there. Not what you'd expect from him at a drafting track, especially. Logano was up there. Cindric was, dead last, 4 laps down. Blaney was just kind of mid-pack.
So I agree with you. Ryan Blaney, I feel like you didn't see much of him throughout the day. My bad surprise was Justin Allgaier. He did race full-time in Cup before. He's had the experience driving in these 500s, and he just looked like he did not belong out there. There were a couple bad moves, some bad blocks. Obviously, he caused the big crash that happened, but it just, I don't know, you'd expect him. He's been around these in NASCAR for a long time. He's raced in Cup for a couple of years. He's raced in O'Reilly for a bunch of years, and he just didn't really look like he belonged out there. And really, you could say, the bad surprise were the majority of the open cars anyway, because, like I said, 3 of them got involved in that wreck right in the beginning of the race. Most of them not their fault, but you're racing to get your way in the Daytona 500, and 3 of them are involved in a wreck before lap 10.
Yeah, and then the other one wrecked his boss a few laps later.
Yep.
So yeah, not good for the open
so
cars.
I also did my goofball of the race, and that was also Justin Allgaier causing that crash.
Yeah. I like
you want to do your O'Reilly?
Yeah.
You want to do your O'Reilly over-unders?
Yes. My O'Reilly, let's see, good surprise was Patrick, I'm going to say his last name wrong, and I'm sorry, Staropoli. We saw him early in the race, 3 wide middle, and that guy could not keep it straight. I was like, this guy's going to cause the big one. He did not. He did get caught up in a big one, but didn't cause anything, per my knowledge. Came home 18th, which for a guy stepping into equipment that won on a, quote unquote super speedway, EchoPark is, I would consider a super speedway now. You would expect, higher from that equipment, but for a guy just stepping in, just learning it, I kind of liken it to like Chase Briscoe when he came in from JGR. He's like, it's crazy how much better these cars are than SHR. I think for what it was, first race in the new stuff, kept it clean. Good surprise. How was your good surprise?
My good surprise was Ryan Sieg. He got involved in a wreck and drove his way through. I think he got 3rd place. Ryan Sieg is just one of those guys that you just think is just going to keep getting a win every single year, and he just comes up short. I really do believe that he's going to get his first win this year in 2026. I think his car is there. I think he's a talented enough driver. I just think it's bound to come at some point this year. And, like I said, he got involved in a wreck and he drove his way up to third place. It is Daytona, but navigated his way through.
Yep. And for bad surprise, I actually have two. One of them, Carson Hocevar. Because you didn't know he was in the race until he crashed. And that's really kind of all I have to say about that. You'd expect him to be, in a O'Reilly car. You expect him to be a bit more in the mix at a drafting track. And then my other one was Corey Day. Because it seemed like for every accident, he was lurking nearby and may have been involved or the cause of it. And he was also, later in the race, seemed like he couldn't quite hold it straight. But what about you? You're a bad surprise?
My bad surprise was Corey Day. Kind of the same thing, involved in multiple cautions. He did kind of keep driving his way back through, but then all of a sudden another caution. Oh, there goes Corey Day again. I think this really will be a learning year. Hendrick is giving Corey Day a ride full-time in the O'Reilly series. I can't remember the last time they've done that. He really needs to prove his stuff this year. Again, take it as a learning year, and I'm not sure how long they'll keep him in that car. You kind of wonder about Alex Bowman, but Corey Day right now does not look anywhere near being able to move up to the Cup Series. This wasn't a good week for him. Let's see what the rest of the year brings, but he is in top equipment. Like, you'd imagine that, obviously I know Hendrick hasn't been fielding O'Reilly cars, but Hendrick's got top equipment in Cup. You imagine that it's similar equipment that's going in to be in for O'Reilly series. So, again, let's see what the rest of the year brings, but so far, not a good start for Corey Day.
Yeah. I would agree.
And then, my goofball of the race, Natalie Decker.
Yeah.
Sam Mayer got into a crash and was coming up the track, and Natalie Decker blamed him for coming up the track, saying, "What was he doing?" Now, mind you, Sam Mayer's car, every inch of that car was banged in. He probably had no brakes, flat tires. Ironically, I saw Mike Davis of Dirty Mo Media posted on X even saying something about that, being like, what are you talking about? Like, you are a million miles back. Hit the brakes. What are you doing? Why are you flying in there?
I counted when I was watching the replay back. I believe it was 12 seconds from the start of the crash until she plowed into it. And I believe it was also the spotter, I didn't listen to it, but I did read that he said, like, slow down. We know how that went. So I agree, goofball the race.
She didn't have a good week as it is, but that just really was the icing on the cake. And, I want women to succeed in NASCAR, but come on, girl. Like, you're only the girl in the race, like, slow down.
Yeah, don't make it easy for misogynists. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Don't give them weapons, man. Just keep your nose clean.
Well, for our picks of the race, I went 1 for 1 already this year because I picked Austin Hill to get the victory at Daytona. I believe you did as well.
Yep, for O'Reilly, we're both 1 for 1. And then for Cup,
not so much. For Cup, I picked Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell got 35th. You picked Ross Chastain, and he got 20th place.
Yeah, either way, terrible. I don't know if it's considered I won. I'm not proud of that at all.
All right, you ready to make our picks for EchoPark Speedway?
We can, if you'd like. Also, by the way, 36 for 36 last week. I had Cole Custer. Ran out of gas. His crew chief. Imbecile. Who was your 36 for 36? How'd they do?
Riley Herbst, 8th place. I'm taking it as a win. I know Riley Herbst, obviously, he maybe could have finished a little higher if he didn't get involved in that last lap wreck, and then obviously with Brad Keselowski, there's some drama going on there. But I will take an 8th place for Riley Herbst for my 36 for 36. I believe it. I don't know if it was. I believe it might have been his best finish ever. I'll take it.
Yep. And then I'll do my 36 for 36 pick first for EchoPark. I am going to pick Daniel Suarez, number 7 car. Corey LaJoie in that 7 car was very good. From your face, I'm assuming you also probably picked him. I picked him first. I said it first. Buzz off, kid.
I had one person for 36 for 36. Well, that's fine.
Huh.
Huh.
Anyways, race picks. I picked...
Come back to me. Come back to me. I'll think of someone.
I picked Carson Hocevar for Atlanta. Who I think is going to win. Don't tell me you also pick Hocevar.
You're fucking with me. You're fucking with me. You saw my notes.
I did not.
I don't know if it... Oh. On here, Atlanta, Carson Hocevar Cup, 36 for 36, Daniel Suarez.
Oh, this. You pick a new 36 for 36. I'll pick a new race pick. We'll come back to it. How about this? We'll come back to it. I got some talking points for us instead, and I'm going to start with O'Reilly. Eventually, once I find it.
Alright, let me look at the drivers again so I can see who I want.
Okay. My talking point for O'Reilly for EchoPark is who is going to stop Austin Hill at a drafting track? These people, I mean, I said it last week. They take their brain, they throw it out the window. We saw the same exact thing. And I think it's also just a combination of RCR's cars are just so fast. People just can't keep up with them. But JGR, I feel like we saw a glimpse of hope. We saw Sawalich up front. We saw Gray up front. We saw Jones up front at Daytona. Can they work together like RCR does sometimes? Austin Hill usually doesn't even need the help, but sometimes they work together. Can JGR get together and try to control this thing and keep RCR down? And is the only hope of anybody besides RCR winning is them taking themselves out like they've done in years past? Is it going to take them literally wrecking for someone else to win, or can anybody else with a pulse come up and at least try to contend?
So is your pick then someone on RCR, or is it someone different?
So I figured we're both not stupid. I'm picking Austin Hill again. However, I'm also going to pick the person who I think has the best chance of taking him down. Might surprise you, William Sawalich. He impressed me at Daytona. He was good in ARC, I believe, and at the drafting tracks. Well, I think he won like 10 races or something like that in a year, so he's good at everything. But he is my pick. I think William Sawalich is the best chance to take him down, not RCR affiliated.
So I had two people, and it was either Austin Hill or Jesse Love. I was going to go the opposite, whatever you picked. If you're going Austin Hill, then I'll go Jesse Love. I just think it's going to be one of those two. Their cars are unstoppable on drafting tracks. They seem to just have something under the hood at the drafting tracks where those cars just are always up front, leading every single lap. They work well together. I think you honestly just can't pick against them. Like, it's probably going to be one of those two. Last year at Daytona, Jesse Love won. At Atlanta, Austin Hill won. So this year, I think Austin Hill won Daytona. I'm going to go with Jesse Love then at Atlanta.
Can't hate the pick.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Another talking point. This time, transitioning to the Cup Series. When asked about the fuel saving and of Toyota getting in each of the three lanes and, slowing down the field and making everyone fuel safe, Ryan Blaney was critical of it. Which I get. It probably sucks behind the wheel when you're not the one doing it, but last year, Team Penske were the ones doing it. So you wonder where Toyota got it from. It's probably Team Penske. What are you crying for? That's what I think. But also, that will transition me into what is the fix for the fuel saving at Daytona. And the one thing I saw on the Everything app, a slight incentive may be bringing back points for leading a lap and also leading the most laps. Because then you're not just going to want, three schmucks of the same manufacturer or team controlling the lines. You're not going to be content to just ride around. You might actually try. I don't know if that would fix everything, but might fix it a little bit. You have thoughts on the fuel saving?
I don't know. It happens in IndyCar. It happens in Cup for like the drafting tracks. Well, honestly, a little bit everywhere. But I don't know how they're gonna stop it. I really don't. And I think that's gonna be I mean, I don't know. I really don't know what the fix is for that. I think no matter what you do, you're really going to have a hard time trying to prevent drivers from fuel saving because it'll make their stop shorter in the end, and then they can be up front at after the last fuel cycle, but we'll see. I don't have any fix for that. I really don't know what to do, but I don't get paid the big bucks to make that decision.
Yeah, you don't get paid the big bucks to mess it all up.
Yep.
And the only other point that I had was just, it's not even really a point, it was just me bringing it up, is that Speed coming back. I saw the announcement, as I'm sure many of you did, got excited, went on X to see the post, and it was just a podcast with Kevin Harvick and Will Buxton. I'm not excited anymore. I don't need another podcast with Kevin Harvick on it. But that's all for my talking points. You got any more?
No, you covered everything I had, so. So I originally was going to do this guy, but then I backtracked because I was like, I'd rather go with Daniel Suarez. Instead, I'm going to go with Todd Gilliland. He was who I was gonna pick originally, but then I was like, eh. But alright, I'll keep it with Todd Gilliland. I need to remember when I fill that out this week that I'm gonna go with him and don't put Suarez on accident. I have to remind myself now every day this week.
I guess my race pick. Listen, I'd be dumb to pick anyone other than Team Penske if I'm not picking Hosefar. Hosefar, I was like, it'd be a little different. Don't want to pick. Penske's too obvious. But if you're going Hocevar, because apparently we have the same brain cell that we share, I am going Joey Logano. Looked good. Won the duel. Third place. Backwards at Daytona. I like him. I'm picking him. Going with him for Atlanta.
I can't believe you didn't go with Austin Cindric. I thought that was like a shoe-in.
No, he didn't impress me. That's the issue. Like, he was not great in the duel. Qualified like 17th, I think, or something like that. Not what you expect for Penske at, drafting tracks, especially him qualifying. He's very good at qualifying. Anything else, maybe not as much. Very debatable. But qualifying, you gotta admit, he's pretty good. Duel, just couldn't get up there. At the end, he dropped back on purpose. So, I wasn't like, it is what it is. But then he just didn't do much. The only reason he even got second during the stage is because of fuel saving. And then, obviously, end of stage 2, got wiped out. But just I don't know. Didn't love it, didn't see it. Didn't see the vision. I do see the vision with Joey Logano, though, and that's why he is my race pick.
That is all I had.
Well,
we're one race down already.
I had. One race down, the biggest event of the year. Thank you, Bart Simpson, for waving the green flag at the biggest race of the year, kicking us off on our season. Amazing. Couldn't think of a better way to start it. And folks, that is going to do it for today's episode. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week after Atlanta. Bye-bye.
Bye.